Thank you again, Mike. Next one is Bala Prasanna. He's the director of IEEE Region 1. And I had the pleasure of working with Bala for many, many years. And I was living in New Jersey, New York for the last before I moved to Baltimore. So let me briefly introduce. Obviously, he has been helping us quite a lot. He has a rich professional career of 35 years. He worked at SUNY-State, University of New York, AT&T, where I worked as well, IBM in various roles, many senior technical management positions. He has held many IEEE leadership positions, studying. Yes. And also a member of IEEE. He chases his time talking to students, career professionals. He's been a prolific speaker, spoken many US international universities, career management fairs. As I said, Mr. Bala Prasanna is now the Region 1 director, and he's also very much involved in humanitarian activities like IEEE Move. And with that, Bala, sorry, yours. You can just down. Like Drew, Bala has also helped us in same conference that we have been doing at Princeton for many years.
Good morning, guys. It's a privilege to speak here. IEEE's efforts. Connect the unconnected symposium today, not just as a representative of Region 1, but as a steward of the shared mission that we have all together. I just want to start with a sweet note. You probably have seen this person, you may have observed in the last few days, and today included, working hard behind the scenes, behind the computer, to make the symposium as successful as possible. Craig Polk has been recognized recently by Region 1 for his outstanding contributions for the mission, for serving the mission of IEEE. Well, we're going to get a plaque, but short of the plaque, I would like to give this cap, Region 1, Region 2 cap. So you're always behind the computer, so if you can come in front of the computer.
I do like caps.
You do like caps. So, am I on? Connecting with unconnected is, you saw somewhere you used the word challenge, right? For us in Region 1, we also look at it as a responsibility, and we have responded and we continue to respond with creativity and with rigor. So that's what hopefully I'll try to communicate over the next few slides. So what is the imperative here? This sort of relates to some of these query. So some answers to the questions that you challenged us earlier today, right? So why connecting the unconnected matters? So there are 2.9 billion people, they remain offline. So what does it mean? So that means it is a connectivity gap. That's one way to look at it, which is what we are familiar with. But the other way to look at it is a dignity gap. I think that's where Corey was going. And the impact is disproportionate when you consider the women and underserved communities and on and on. But these are just two examples. Digital access is foundational to education, health services, civic voice, and growing economic mobility. Those are the things. So that is why it's so important. IEEE Future Networks. CTU reframes this issue not just as a technical problem, but as a human imperative. So bravo to IEEE Future Networks for doing this. Congratulations to Ashutosh and all his peers for leading this work.
Thank
Oh, you also had another question. Who would work 1,000 days without any pay? So I could not resist thinking about IEEE volunteers who have been here, serving for 5, 10, 15 years, right? So that's another example. So somehow, it still ends up with connecting the unconnected in families. Moving on. When I say what is Region 1's contribution in the connect the unconnected space, I look at it in 3 different ways. One is the role of academic institutions in Region 1, the role of industries in Region 1, and perhaps the role of some individuals that I can pick in Region 1. So that is what Region 1 brings to the connect the unconnected challenge. So to begin with, Region 1 has been home to some of the world's most forward-thinking institutions, right? So Harvard, right? Harvard is shaping policy frameworks for equitable access. That's the role they're playing. MIT is pioneering mesh networks for low resource environments. You have MIT there. Princeton's legacy in signal processing. Okay, what do I have there? Yeah. For efficient transmission, FFT, fast Fourier transform. This happened in 1964. Just think about it, right? And recently, we had milestone dedications. The FFT is a joint outcome of Princeton and IBM. And wherever there is signal processing that is involved, so there is FFT. And FFT has revolutionized the way world works. Okay. This FFT algorithm did not just accelerate computation, it laid the groundwork for digital infrastructure as we know it. Again, began in 1964. Wherever you have, say, for example, smart telephones, communications, compression, image processing, ECG, MRI, audio, music, think of anything pretty much, right? So wherever you have it, FFT is there. So there is the FFT. So if we would not have FFT, we would not come as far as we have come today in terms of handling so much of data, so much of different kind of data in the way that data is serving us these days. Okay? Now, what is happening with that FFT in particular, because FFT is sort of fresh on my mind because of these activities. Federica were there with us for the events. Princeton continues to apply FFTs in quantum simulations and AI pipelines. And the frontier continues to expand. I understand beyond this, Princeton itself is not engaged in other ways with respect to FFT, but of course, like we said, quantum computing, AI pipelines, and so on. Researchers like, I have a name here, Giri Narasimhan at Florida International University. So these guys are looking beyond FFT as we know through, these are the post-FFT paradigms. Sparse transforms, compressed sensing, graph-based methods. These are some of the post-FFT work that is happening. And these are, again, expected to leapfrog us into the next generation of compression, signal processing, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be, again, another remarkable thing that is going to happen. So these innovations are not just theoretical, they're shaping how we process signals in constrained environments, from disaster zones to lunar telemetry, because those are the practical things that are happening. That's where the outcome is going to be. Another example I have here is, again, the list is only representative. It's obviously not complete, as you would know. So Rutgers is modeling community-based deployment strategies. Montclair University, another example I picked up, is pushing smart systems and collaborative robotics into underserved ecosystems. So that's how some of these academic institutions are playing their role. Moving on, industry frontiers. Nokia Bell Labs, right? So deployed the first cellular networks on the moon, March 2025. It just recently happened. So here is the visual. The visual is we had the Athena lander. The company, I think, is Intuitive Machines. So Intuitive Machines Athena lander. So where did they land? They landed on a mountain. I think it's about 3.7 kilometers near the south pole of the moon. Just imagine that, because south pole on the moon is very hard to get to, very hard to land. And there, also now we're trying to land on the top of the mountain, whatever, 3.7 kilometers of miles high. What is happening there is what Nokia Bell Labs did is they had a 4G, LTE, it's about kind of things. So they put it there, and then they use that to have the internet from the moon. And they were almost, successful. So it's not fair to say they did not succeed. It's only that something did not happen only because the orientation of how the lander landed, and so some things they could not do. It's something that they can fix it. But they were able to establish the basic things that they wanted to learn from it and so on. What is the takeaway from here? The takeaway from here is that opens the door for deploying these pizza-sized telemetry boxes or internet boxes, whether it is in the Himalayas, on top of Himalaya, right? Or in those mountain ranges, or disaster areas, or hard to reach areas, right? So any of these places, and we can still establish connectivity. That is the vision, that is the future, that's what is going to happen. In that sense, it is remarkable what Nokia has done. AT&T and Verizon Labs are piloting spectrum innovations that could redefine rural broadband. One example I was reading was AT&T is investing $10 billion to connect 25 million people by 2030. That's what they're doing. I think in my future slide, I also have an example of one person in AT&T, he is AT&T fellow, Arvind Gersberg. He has 650 patents to his name. So what he did was using the electric transmission lines, right, high tension or high voltage transmission lines to for broadband communication, for broadband transmission purposes, because electricity, these transmission lines will reach or get fairly close to the rural communities. So that's what, so they have scalable infrastructure that they're using now to reach those unserved areas, rural areas. So that is what is happening. Okay. So now back to IEEE Future Networks. You are just not only connecting the unconnected, you are also curating a movement, such as through these discussions, through these seminars, and so on. Again, good work, Ashutosh. So please keep doing it because it is necessary. Now, the individual's part of it, right? So we have a few folks. Dr. Wei-Chin Wang, he works on robotics for underserved ecosystems. And he was also recognized by Region 1 with a Technological Innovation Award. AT&T fellow Arvind Gersberg, we talked about him, that is RF access and scalable infrastructure using these electric transmission lines. Alex Jones is a professor in Syracuse University. He does sustainable computing and embodied energy optimization. And we also have lots of folks. Han Zhao, right? I think you know her, right? She was our section chair. Ram Bandaru, he's in Cornell University, I think, or in Ithaca, around that place. Professor Ali Abedi, yeah. Professor Ali Abedi, he used to be in the University of Maine, now he is somewhere in Detroit. But these folks, their research is CTU aligned, and they have produced award-winning projects. Ashanti, you can take this message to Ali. Okay, there is one more that's not there that I would like to mention. Let's try this one. Dr. Henning Schulzrin. I know him for the longest time. I know I haven't met face to face. I may have seen, but we haven't introduced. But I know for the longest time, ever since you became Ashutosh's professor. So, because Ashutosh and I were working in AT&T as whatever, MTSS and so on, and growing up and so on. And then so many things, right? Now, Dr. Schulzrin's contributions, decades-long leadership in broadband policy, internet protocols, and public service in this space. So that we need to recognize. Big hands to you, Dr. Schulzrin. So, in some sense, if you want to translate what we did at the academic institutions or the industry or the individual, if you want to sort of summarize, back to again, Corey's challenge, right? So where did these things result in? So these things resulted in smart agriculture. That's the IoT sensors for soil and crop monitoring, happening somewhere near upstate New York, around that place. Disaster recovery, mesh networks and drone-based rapid kits. So that is happening as we speak. Education access, offline first learning hubs with solar powered Raspberry Pi clusters. Offline first is basically you basically store the data. You get the data and you store the data because you have limited resources. So when the internet is available, you get it. And then you make it available locally. Okay, that does not need full internet because it is locally available and so on. And when the internet is available, then you can replenish or resync your data. So that's the model there. So in that sense, we are making best use of whatever is available, but that's a slightly different paradigm that nevertheless serves the need. So Region 1 pilots emphasize scalability, sustainability, and local context. So what comes next? Region 1 has the ecosystem to lead CTU's next chapter because we continue to do, we have institutions like Columbia and so many other things that I did not mention, right? Connectivity for us is not a luxury, it is a human right. That's what we started out to. Okay, so thank you very much. All right, last act before I do.
Any question?
I'll take the questions to save the fact.
Maybe one question. Okay, that's fine.
Sure.
Thank you. All right. Yes, you have something.
Always give out the stuff.
I will do that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We should try it. So. You this time. Thank you, Bala. It's for all your support. Right.
Yeah, here's my time to give them. Obviously, you can never have enough of these. So. Championing the ITUs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And this, I have two more, two special.
Yes, sure.
I will donate it to someone else because I don't work.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Bala, for that excellent talk and inspiring